A nice game.
Oh, he was so big this game.
Third sack of the night for the Lions.
Oh, beats a double team. Yeah. Huge.
He's had a night, hasn't he? Alim McNeill.
The brand new Lions are built through the draft. A new culture based on grit and finding the right players that fit into their plan. The 2021 NFL Draft has already yielded multiple superstars that they can build their organization around. This offseason, they rewarded those pillar players and have started to rebuild their defense, adding multiple pieces to their defensive backfield and along the defensive line. Hopefully, this will all allow their playmakers to shine, and that includes the gentleman we're going to talk about here today. Thank you guys for returning to the channel. I am your host, Johnny Gaz. I appreciate you coming back for another video. Today, we're going to go back to our Why series and give you a player profile on Lions defensive tackle, Alim McNeill. We'll look at his history, the impact that he's had on the Lions so far, and give an outlook on 2024 and beyond, all while answering the question, why Alim McNeill will become a star in 2024. Let's go. Before we discuss Alim the Dream, make sure to hit that like button if you dig the vibe here at Johnny Gaz Sports. That subscription button and the notify bell is the best way to make sure you don't miss any future videos here on the channel. We now have a membership option available. If you want to join and become a part of the family, just hit that join button on any of the videos. I'll walk you through all the options you have to get involved here. Thank you guys so much for your time. We are on the road to 1,500 subscribers. Thanks to you and all the interaction, the comments. It's been so much fun. Let's get into today's topic. Alim McNeill was born May 11th, 2000. He grew up in North Carolina with his mother and father, older sister, and younger brother. From a young age, he had a fascination with how technology works and software. He also loved playing baseball from a young age with him and his father. He grew into a massive young man, standing at 6'2", almost 290 pounds as a 17-year-old. He attended Sanderson High School in Raleigh, North Carolina, where he excelled in both baseball and football. As a baseball player, he was an outfielder and first baseman, and if you asked him before he went on his recruiting trail heading towards college, he would have told you that baseball was his primary sport. However, he developed into one heck of a football player. On the football field, he was a linebacker, defensive end, and believe it or not, a running back for Sanderson High School in short yardage situations, scoring a number of touchdowns. He led that high school to back-to-back state playoffs and turned himself into a four-star recruit at defensive tackle. Coming out of Sanderson High School, Alim McNeill had a ton of offers from big-time schools. We're talking Clemson, Alabama, Virginia Tech, Michigan, over 30-plus scholarship offers coming to this four-star recruit. He was the number 9 defensive tackle and the number 94 overall player, and ended up deciding to stay in state, going to NC State, joining the Wolfpack in 2018. Part of the reason he went to NC State was, one, to stay close to home. He also had a good relationship with the coaching staff there over several visits over his recruiting process. He loved Coach Dave Doran, and I think the primary reason he went to NC State is because his best friend, running back from the Sanderson High School football team, Trent Penix, also received a scholarship to NC State. Alim McNeill was also told that he'd have the opportunity to play baseball as well as football by attending the school. However, he did find out that he was not able to continue his baseball career due to the education obligations he had at NC State. He sort of questions that, the way that they scheduled him coming into his first semester, and wasn't sure if that was in an effort to get him to get away from baseball and go more to football. But ultimately, I think it worked out for the best. In 2018, he finished the season with 3.5 sacks as a freshman, 22 tackles, and was named a freshman All-American by 247 Sports. In 2019, he had his best statistical season at NC State with 5.5 sacks, 28 tackles, 7.5 tackles for loss, and really developed his sack ability using that athleticism. In 2020, we know we had the shortened COVID season, and he started to eat a lot more double and triple teams stemming off of that 5.5 sack season in 2019. However, the NC State Wolfpack team in general had their highest sack per game total since 2016, showing Alim McNeill's effectiveness on the defense even with the lightened sack numbers. Now, PFF actually graded him the top defensive tackle based on run grade in 2020, and he was the only power conference defensive tackle with a 90-plus grade. Now, I usually don't lean on Pro Football Focus for statistics and supporting my argument, but when looking at defensive tackles, sometimes the overall statistical numbers aren't there to compare and really make a judgment on a player. So in these cases, I do like to lean on some of those things. He also received multiple All-American recognition from the 2020 season, and because of all of that, he elected to forego his senior season at NC State and enter the 2021 NFL Draft. We know the Lions drafted Alim McNeill in the 2021 draft in the 3rd round, number 72 overall. And we've talked about this on previous videos, but think about the surrounding talent. Not only did they get Alim McNeill in round 3, but they started that 2021 draft off with Penei Sewell, Levi Onwuzurike, Ifeatu Melifonwu. We just came off a video highlighting Amon-Ra St. Brown. Make sure to go check that out. Derek Barnes and Jermar Jefferson. What a fantastic way to reset your culture, your organization. That was GM Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell's first draft, and they really hit it out of the park. Alim McNeill started 6 games in 2021 and was used primarily as their nose tackle. At that time, they had a 3-4 defensive scheme, but it really wasn't successful. They ended up finishing at 3-13-1 in 2021. But Alim McNeill had 39 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, and 2 sacks in that season. As the Lions entered the 2022 season, they made a defensive shift, moving from a primary 3-4 base scheme to a 4-3 base scheme. I think that was mainly to adjust to the talent level that they had on their defense. They ended up drafting defensive end Aiden Hutchinson in the 2022 NFL Draft, which allowed them to make those changes. Alim McNeill was still primarily used as their nose tackle, but did start to see more time as that sort of off-ball or 3 technique defensive tackle towards the end of the season. The run defense started to improve after a slow start. The Lions ended up finishing 9-8, and Alim McNeill became a full-time starter on defense that season. He finished with 41 tackles, 1 sack, and had 6 tackles for loss. Coming off the 2022 NFL season, Alim McNeill was not happy with the way he looked and felt. When he looked in the mirror, he felt he was pudgy, was slower than he ever had been, and was not as effective as a football player. So he took it upon himself in his offseason regimen to cut down. He lost 22 pounds and 13% of his body fat prior to training camp in 2023, completely changing his body composition, getting him back to that more athletic build, quicker, twitchier, and ultimately became a better athlete. He moved to a full-time role in that 3 technique as a defensive tackle, and again was able to show that athleticism by playing in that position. Through 13 games in 2023, he was having a career year. Unfortunately, he did have the knee sprain in Week 13 and missed the last quarter of the season. He ended up coming back for the season finale and then played in all of the playoff games and played very, very well. You can ultimately make the argument that if he doesn't get injured, he was on a clear path to being in his first Pro Bowl in 2023. PFF actually graded him the 7th best defensive tackle in 2023, and he was also fantastic on the run defensive side. In the playoffs, he was rated the best defensive tackle left in the playoffs in general during the NFC Championship week. That's some high praise thinking about who else was in those 4 teams. And again, he was really on his way to becoming a Pro Bowler, and I believe really would have done so without that injury. He had a fantastic 2023 season. So what should the outlook be for 2024 and beyond? What's the ceiling for Alim McNeill? I made a video a few weeks back talking about the top 10 breakout players for 2024. I did put Alim McNeill on the list at that time. With more assessment, more thinking about this, he already has broken out. That 2023 season was his breakout. So in 2024, I expect more. Coming in with the body composition change, knowing that he's now strictly a 3 technique defensive tackle, and he took that 3rd-year jump in 2023. I expect that to continue next year. The Lions have added a ton of talent across their defense. In the defensive backfield, they drafted Terrion Arnold, Enos Rakestraw, traded for Carlton Davis, and brought in free agent Amik Robertson. So they've really revamped their secondary, which will hopefully help what's going on up front. But also on the defensive line, they brought in players like Marcus Davenport on the edge. And even more important, and what I think applies so much in this argument, is the free agent acquisition of Cincinnati Bengal DJ Reader. Talk about two forces at defensive tackle being able to play off of each other. They should be destructive in 2024. This is assuming both these gentlemen remain healthy. But what a fantastic addition across the defensive line, and should truly help out Alim McNeill. On top of that, the Lions also brought in a new defensive line coach, Terrell Williams, which we have spent time on in a previous video. But ultimately, he's bringing a violent, run-heavy defense approach. The Lions already have a pretty stout run defense, and I expect that to be even better next season. I think Alim McNeill, through all of those additions, should really be able to shine in 2024, give everything that he has to give. He'll probably receive less double and triple teams, knowing that they're going to have to make up for other talent on the defensive line. It's going to be hard to protect all that, and should give a lot of opportunities for Alim the Dream McNeill. So we've laid out all the reasons it could happen, but why will Alim McNeill become a star in 2024? Well, first and foremost, and to keep it simple, he is a fantastic player. He's increased statistically every single season he's been in the league. He's shown his work ethic, and the drive does not stop. His revamping of his body coming into 2023 is perfect proof of that. Again, he's getting better and expanding his game each and every season. There's more and more talent being added around him, which by association should give him a lot more opportunity. The other part of this is I think Aaron Glenn, the returning defensive coordinator, is really in a make-or-break season. He's going to have to put his best foot forward, and with all this new talent, is really going to have to show that the Lions defense will take the next step. And Alim McNeill is going to be a huge part of that. But what is the biggest reason why I think Alim McNeill will turn himself into a star in 2024? What motivates NFL players more than anything in most cases? That's the money. He's in a contract year. The Lions organization has proven that they are willing to draft, cultivate and develop, and then reward those pillar players. Penei Sewell, Amon-Ra St. Brown, perfect examples of that situation. Defensive tackle Alim McNeill is next in line to receive that contract, and if he continues to play from 2023 moving forward, he will earn that contract. Now, if you look at the contract situations for defensive tackle throughout the NFL, they continue to go up and up and up. Finding quality defensive tackles is a lot more difficult, and Alim McNeill is one of those guys, and I think he's proven himself, and I think he will continue to do so into 2024. So does Alim McNeill become a star this year? I say absolutely he does, and I can't wait to see it. So what's the ceiling for Alim McNeill this year? What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments. Do we expect more from him this year? Has he already hit that ceiling? What does he give to the Lions defense in general? Can they take that next step in 2024? Can't wait to hear from you guys. Thank you so much for coming along for another video. If you dug what we did here today, make sure to hit that like button. It's the best free way to help out the channel. I appreciate you guys so much. If you hit that subscription button and the notify bell, it's the best way to make sure you don't miss future videos here on the channel. More than anything, I want to make sure you take care of yourself and your mental health. That is most important. I want to make sure you guys come back on future videos. Thank you so much for your time. I will see you very, very soon.